Flosstube, it's Pam, Stitching Between the Lines. It is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. This is video number 108. Last time I think I said it was video number 106, and I typed that in the title. I don't know what I said. What I typed in the title was video 106. And then I noticed there was already a 106, so I went back and changed it. I guess I could have gone to see what I said, but I don't know. I didn't think of that until this second. Anyway, it's Tuesday, March 1st, and February lasted like, I don't know, 10 weeks. It was the longest month, I think, that I've had in a long time. I thought I was glad to have it over and that it could be March, and then I was stitching away, watching something on Flosstube, and discovered a big mistake in my project that I'm working on, but we'll talk about that later when we get there. So stitching wise, I don't have my microphone, so I'm going to try to talk loud and clear and not hold my things up in front of my face, because I know that really muffles the sound. I'm struggling a little bit with people who do that. I have been watching Flosstube on my TV. I can cast it onto the Roku stick on there in this particular TV situation, and the sound is terrible, and I turn the volume way the heck up, and it's not so much that I can't hear, it's the clarity that is poor. So I will try not to do that with holding things up in front of my face, because I know that's a problem. Future videos I'll have my microphone. Situationally, I don't. So what I worked on, what I focused on in the month of February, I mentioned back in my last video, was hands-on designs, more chocolate bunnies. This was one of my New Year's Eve 8x8, which is like self-created, copying the 12x12 idea that was out there. I think Kia B and Pam and Steph Just Keep Stitching were involved in it. Started it, I guess. And I can't stay up till midnight at all. And, you know, just days being what they are, I don't really have like 12 straight hours where I can start something new. So my day was like starting something new every hour, starting at noon until 8 o'clock, working on it for an hour. Somehow we worked dinner into that equation, so something got cheated out a little bit, I think. And then I worked on them for 3 days. So New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and January 2nd, which was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this past 2021 turn 2022. It was a bit like Groundhog's Day. I starting things and only working on them for an hour isn't exactly my kind of thing. I don't enjoy that. It just doesn't feel good. So I liked that I went back to them a few times, but after the third day of working on these same 8 things, I'd had enough. So I finished one of the items. These are all in the past couple videos. I've talked about this. Finished one during that 8x8 3-day Groundhog's Day thing. I finished one in January, and now Life Needs More Chocolate Bunnies is my third of that 8x8 that I have managed to finish. So I actually finished it yesterday. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda finished it sooner. But I didn't, like, one of the things I do, this is me, this is my methodology, method to the madness, is when I'm trying to finish just something little but still work on like a main thing, I will choose a time during the day. For example, during the news, because I always watch the news, like the 6 o'clock news, and that's for an hour. Except sometimes we aren't done with dinner and done with dishes until like 7 o'clock, so that kind of doesn't always work. I work on this for some designated stretch of time during the news, let's just say. And there were days, though, when I just didn't, like, I was on a roll with my other project and I just didn't want to put it down. So I didn't pick this up. So up until yesterday, which was February 28th, I was done with all this. Well, first of all, when I started it, these 2 bunnies were done and half of this bunny, and that was it. So it's not like I didn't make fabulous progress. Yesterday morning when I got to work on it, I think I still had 2 carrot tops to do, all the soil and then all the carrots. So I worked on that, and I kept thinking to myself, if I had just worked on this when I said I would during the news, it would just be done. I don't know. But rules made to be broken, I guess. So Life Needs More Chocolate Bunnies has been waiting. Like, I have one of those IKEA 3-tiered rolling carts that sits next to my stitching chair. This has been in there for a long time, waiting for me to just start it. I even had the fabric picked out. It was a piece of 36 count Vintage Country Mocha, a 9x9 piece I picked up in Stitchville, and I left the tag on because it shows all the details. I love to be somewhere where they sell these tiny little pieces of things that I wouldn't, the project bag keeps wanting to fall off my lap. Maybe 36 count is not my go-to because I need magnification, you know, like a floor stand lamp magnifier, generally. This time my magnifying glasses seemed to do the job, and I didn't need the magnification anywhere near as much. A little bit. I think maybe if my eyes were getting tired, I would switch and use a magnifier. So I like to buy these little things, just little cuts, just a couple dollars in different samples of things. Now, I already know I love Vintage Country Mocha, so I don't know. But it was perfect. It worked perfect. And then another reason why this had been laying out for so long, waiting for me to work on it, is that it uses the Sulky 12 weight. What a mess. And recently I got one of the, let me get it right. The Starlightstitching Company's wallet, right? Is that what we call it? Look for some details down below. I think the housewives were gifted some of these, and so as soon as I saw them, I knew I loved them. She used to have an Etsy shop that was always, whenever I checked it, this is the learning process, whenever I checked it, everything was gone. You could buy the pattern. I didn't want the pattern. I don't like dealing with the plastic. Plus I'd have to go find the plastic, buy the plastic, whatever. And then she switched to a website. So let's just say it's starlightstitchingco.com, which it may or may not be. Look below. I'll put it in there. A note about that. I'm getting better at all the details of the down belows, and it could be that YouTube and or iPad are working nicely together on this. I can type it all in prior to uploading it. So hopefully, and sometimes I have to go back after it's uploaded and do changes. For example, when I use my picture, I sometimes have to let it upload and then go back and add that. It's just, sometimes it's just easy to find how to do it. Not that I don't know how to do it, but I just can't find where to do it until it's uploaded. And then I usually go to my Mac desktop and do it from there. I think an iPad isn't always the best place to go sourcing these things. So anyway, these are lovely. Oh, so anyway, on her website, she posts on Instagram as well. You should watch Instagram because she posts on there what's coming in a sale, and I believe this is fact. She has her sales on the 1st of the month and the 15th of the month, and at a specific time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think. Maybe it's 2 o'clock wherever I was time, and 1 o'clock her time. I don't know. Again, I've got to leave some of this up to you. And you need to go there right away to her website to purchase right when the sale goes live because they're gone. Anyway, I have this one. This is one of the ones I have, I should say. I like to put a needle minder on here on the little felt that's meant to hold a needle, you know, to stick a needle through. This particular needle minder is too heavy. It's very heavy. It's one of those with the huge big thing. So I need a simpler one on there. And I also, where's the other one? Oh, there's not one on this one. I also will put, if I don't put a needle minder up here, I put a needle minder on this side so that I can put the back magnet inside the zipper pouch part. And then if it comes off, I won't lose that little magnet. So this is all soft and fleecy to hold your little ends and your little threads that you haven't used yet. And then you have the zipper part that holds other little things. In this small pattern situation, the pattern, I stuck the pattern right in here and the fabric folded in half right in there, and clutch. Is it called a needle art clutch? A needle, I don't know. A thread clutch? I don't know. We're getting closer though. The word clutch has come into my brain. But anyway, let's circle back around to where I was going in the first place, is that this is hands-on designed pattern that you could buy with the sulky 12 weight. And that they all fit nicely in here. So that was a really nice thing. So this was my first foray into using the sulky for cross stitch. And you use it exactly as it comes off the spool. It's a bit thicker than, it's about as the thickness of 2 DMC floss, you know, pieces of floss. And it just has a nice finish to it. And it's easy to stitch with. And on 36 count, using 1 ply that you pull off the spool, it has lovely coverage. So as I was using this and enjoying it, I got an email from Joanns, as I tend to. Joanns, you know, fabric store. The threads were on sale 40% off. So I went and looked at their sulky. And they have lots of like sulky 12 weights that come in little packs, a theme pack or whatever. I went and I bought lots of them. There might be like an autumn colorway grouping or whatever. They weren't, all of them weren't in stock. I don't have them yet. So I am looking forward to an opportunity to try to use them. You can also, there's also some sulky that's variegated, but a lot of them are just a very solid color. So I wanted to have them on hand. I wanted to be able to pull them out and use them sometimes on a pattern. Whether I would mix sulky and DMC, I am uncertain about, but some patterns are simply a whimsical stitch. I don't know that there's any reason that I couldn't blend them if I felt like I could, if I wanted to, right? So there is Life Needs More Chocolate Bunnies. The whole mess is also in a project bag, so even though it fit in the clutch, you know, really keeps them all together. And then the piece that was the problem child, which I didn't know it was a problem child. I have been, as you know, working on Kringles, and I was stitching like a component a month, and I had 3 components done. I had the middle, I had this one, and I had this one done. And I had done various elements around, and I had the roof done over to the last window and last section of roof, I think. I don't think I had to do this section, but now I don't know. And so I decided once a month, it was sort of like, I don't know, bogs me down, I guess. So I made it the focus piece in February. And if you asked me in the beginning of February, it's not finished, so let me just tell you that. If you asked me, though, in the beginning of February if I thought I was going to finish it in February, I would have said, no way do I expect to finish it, but secretly I did. So I'm trying to use a little something to give it a little structure here. I managed a whole ton of it, literally a crap ton, in February. February is, you know, kind of a dismal month where there's not a heck of a lot to keep you busy in the outside world anyway. And there was a lot of weather in February. Anyway, here it is. And I'm chugging away. I have not done some things like French knots, like their eyes. And I think here and there, I don't have the gold in there. I need to go back and do a real good look, though. And I'm just going to let you look at it for a minute. So anybody who stitched this may spy this right away. There is an epic mistake. Epic. And I only just realized it this morning. Like 3 hours ago. Maybe. If that. 2 hours. I know you're all studying it. I will, of course, tell you because that's a whole topic of conversation. I finished all the brick. I was very happy to have all the brick done, the roof done, the snow done, the rooms mostly done. I have one more window to do. I am sick and tired. I said this before, and this time I said I was tired of it. This time I'm sick and tired of doing things where you box in some component of it. You know, I complained about it when I did tingles, and I don't even know what else. It makes it easy to break it up into like smaller chunks, and honestly, a single room takes about 3 days for me, stitching time, just the room. But then you have to add all the brick and all whatever else is going on, so 5 days. I can do a component in like 5 days. So, and then I had to break, you know, the roof up into components and, of course, the sign. And now I'm down to where I'm working on the doors. I might finish the doors by the end of tomorrow. The doors, and there's, oh, there it is. All right, I lost it there for a minute. The doors, next to the door are like some reindeer. They're probably like a little display window. I have, you know, I've done all the top with the exception of there's another border that goes around parts of it. I haven't done the stairs, and I'm just starting in on things that will lead to the framing in of this little side window. This I think was probably my favorite to do because it was the bakery with the gingerbread house and stuff. Cute little cuteness. I have this one to do, and I may or may not carry it on into March to finish it. All right, so should we talk about the mistake? Let's look at the threads first. Here's what I'm down to, except for a few DMCs. I'm down to this. This started with 20 skeins of overdyes to make, what is that? Such a mess. And I just finished the 5th of 6 black coffees. But it's a funny thing here. I was looking at this color, hazelnut, thinking, why do I have so much hazelnut? Why wouldn't this have just been a DMC? Well, it's because the letters are supposed to be hazelnut, not that god-awful gold stuff. But I have been like diligently working away on the gold stuff. I'm not, like, I could have kept going, but I work in hand, which is why my things look like this. And so I roll it all the way up so that I can work here. So until this is done, and I'm not rolling up and handling all these letters. They're not supposed to be gold. Did I say that? They're supposed to be hazelnut. Did I read the symbol? Probably not. I think in my mind, I'm picturing like Woolworths, or we had a Kresge's in town when I was younger, and I feel like the letters were like gold. So, I know the gold that it was called, that the pattern called for, nobody could find it back anyway when it came out. I have no idea if it's available now. So I had in my stash a spool of this DMC Gold. Don't know what you call it. It just says metallic thread. The actual spool that I have is this one. Had like a clearance sticker on it. I don't know. So when I was working away, there's little bits of gold in a lot of these blocks. Just a little bit here and there. For example, this ribbon is gold. There's a mistake in this one too I was thinking about taking out. It's supposed to have a tag on it, but I don't know if I'm going to pick out any parts to put a tag on that gift. So there's a little bits here and there, and I had this spool. Oh, crap. Excuse me. I had a thread and a needle I wanted to talk about. And I was thinking, I'm worried that I'm not going to have enough. I can't really determine how much is in there and how fast it's going to go, because as you know, this stuff like frays all apart. And so you might take a 12-inch length and actually only get like 6 inches of stitching out of it. So I took myself off to Joann Fabric and I bought another spool of something I hope I never need again, just to make sure I had enough for all those stitches I don't need to be making. So I was preparing in my mind mentally as I was getting ready to make this floss tube, and I'm stitching away on all that black coffee around the door, to talk about using this metallic gold. I know already, I do know that you can pop, you gotta get your fingernails in there though. You can pop the spool a little bit and put your tail up in there and then shut it again. Some of that, you know, is a little hard on the thread, and you don't need anything that's going to want to help this thread separate any faster. So I have one of those peels. In quilting, this is what they're used for. They're used to do this with your nice thread. So I had a peels on this just to keep it all tucked in nice. And I, you know, was making it work, right? So I was going to thread in a couple needles, because what I'll do is I'll thread like 3 needles, because threading the needles is part of the challenge of this stuff. And I know probably if I got, okay, I know that was only a blink of an eye for you guys, but the phone rang, sorry. Okay, so we're kvetching about this and the silver and using the metallic gold. Okay, so what I usually do, and in this case, unnecessarily thinking I had to stitch all those letters, I will load up several threads, because threading is sometimes the challenge. And so what I do, I learned this, I don't know if you know who Lynette Anderson is. She is a quilter and a fabric designer that includes a lot of embroidery in her her work. And I took a class from her. She's from Australia. I took a class from her several years ago, and she gave us this hint. Number 1 is to do a little tying of your thread, just once through. It's not a secure knot, it's not staying anywhere, but it helps your needle doesn't slide all around, and that's one of the things that makes this thread fray apart quicker. And then the other thing I did is on the little tiny tail, I tied a knot. I'll trim some of this off. It really doesn't matter. It's the tail. It's not going to stay. Tie a little knot, and then that keeps the whole end from just the endless fraying. And you can see it's 3 plies already coming apart. This end I haven't done anything to. If I'm going to handle it a lot, I'm going to have to tie a knot in it until I'm using it. I secure my thread on the back. I go under a couple stitches. It is a little bit of a challenge when there's this knot. You have to kind of get this knot as tight as you can so it's as small as you can get it. I'm working on 28 count, so there's no problem getting that knot through. It's when I'm sliding it under a couple, on the back, under a couple stitches. I go under once and I come up and I go under a second time. So, because you only use 1 ply of this. And so, in fact, I'm going to do a knot, because I still am not positive if I'm going to take out all these gold letters and put the hazelnut in. Taking them out and putting it back in is going to take me just as much time as it would take me to do the remaining 3.5 letters, almost, or 4.5, 4 2/3, whatever, 3/4 of a letter in the gold. So I don't know. I just don't know. I'm just so like taken aback, I guess. I just think in my mind these letters were that color, and I don't know that I even looked at the symbol to see. You can see like the back of the clock is all gold. Oh, the face of the clock. I don't know. See, here's the thing. What goes on around the windows is hazelnut and black coffee. And so this stands out like shockingly. Not really shockingly, I know. And I know I'm not really asking for opinions because I'll get them in all directions. I just need to think about it for a little while. So Kringles, after I finish that front door area today and tomorrow, might be going in timeout. I don't know. Such a disappointment, right? When something like that happens. All right, so what else? That's it for sewing. I mean, my actual sewing. I did find at Joanns some of the anchor floss, which they have now on on spools, much like this size. I don't know that I've had anywhere local that sold anchor floss ever. We have a store. It's a family-owned business, but they have more than one storefront that sells Sullivan's of all threads. But I have not ventured into Sullivan's at all. They're supposed to be like an exact match for like the DMC equivalent, and some people love the Sullivan's. Ornaments all around. That piece, who did that piece? Ornaments all around, and shoot, I forget. They're usually designed with Sullivan's in mind. Still don't think I'm going there. Anyway, I don't need another line of threads. Sulky. I might concede to sulky a little bit. But the first thing that came to my mind when I picked up those spools of anchor, I mean, I like a spool. Who doesn't like a nice spool? I have hundreds of spools of thread. I bobbinate my DMC, so I have boxes and boxes bobbinated. Doesn't bother me. Perfectly happy with it that way. I keep my overdyes and floss away bags alphabetically in an old library card catalog. And the floss away bags mostly fit right in, so alphabetically, easy peasy. So anchor, which used to come as a skein just like DMC, now on a spool, I just looked at it and thought, how much waste? That is so much waste of a spool that you just throw away. Now, again, I sew all the time using spools and I throw them away. But spool of sewing thread, there has never been an option but for it to be a spool. It's the only way it's going in the sewing machine. So I don't know. Why would that thought occur to me? I'm thinking it's because with DMC, I'm used to just putting it on a bobbin and moving on. And the only waste is 2 little tabs. And the bobbins I use for years, like reuse them or holds the thread for years. So I don't know. So the only anchor threads I bought, there's lovely colors, is I bought some black. Black only came on the big, like big size spools. And I bought a white, which came on this size. And I bought a 3865, that other white. I understand, can't say for a fact that the black and the white have better coverage. So anyway, I was just excited to find it and be able to just get some to try. Again, don't need another line of threads, but options when it comes to white and black are a good thing. So there's that. And then while we're talking about waste, excessive waste, do you know, we all understand when our craft involves a magazine that we get the magazine, we enjoy the magazine, we put the magazine on the shelf, and a couple years later we go back through the magazines and maybe we tear out the pattern we liked. Maybe we put it in a binder, a folder, whatever, and then we put the magazine in the recycling because, you know, it takes up space. How many years of magazines can we keep? Both in cross stitch and quilting. So I do that with my quilt magazines, and I try not to amass a lot of magazines. I don't subscribe to anything anymore, except I get the e-version of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, which I've gotten that since the very beginning. I'm going back to the paper version because those are just nice magazines. So anyway, I went to a quilt show here, like, it was in a town, a communities quilt guild that does a quilt show every couple years, and it was lovely. Very much enjoyed it. There's some real talent in that community. Awesome quilts to look at. And then commonly at a quilt show given by a guild, there'll be, they'll have vendors, but they'll also have like a booth or a room or space that the guild sells things to be a fundraiser for the guild. Maybe a bazaar. And in this case, it was called a bazaar. Kind of reminds me of the old church bazaar where there were lots of things that were already made and little things like that. But they had a huge boxes and boxes of magazines that people had donated to sell. And I had been to this quilt show before and I bought magazines. And so I actually went there knowing I would look for magazines and just flip through. I think when I bought them before, they came in bundles, maybe a bundle of 5 for 50 cents or something like that. So you just pick up a bundle or two. I mean, for that kind of price, if there's one that has 0 interest, it goes in the recycle bin. So I picked up about 10. These weren't in a bundle, they were individual, so you just sorted through the box, and it's kind of hard when things are crowded or whatever to sort through boxes. So I just tried to go real quick and pull out about 10. They were a nickel, so not a 50-cent investment. And that it would just give me something to like browse through and that kind of thing. So I've been through 5 of them so far. The first 3 had things in it I wanted to potentially make. So I wasn't really reducing my own storage, bulky storage by much by adding so far 3. Put 2 in the recycle bin and 3 I haven't looked at yet. So that didn't work. So then, all right, one more thing. But first, I know I am like grumbling about all my projects and what February was like. February was not an enjoyable month. It did give me some stitching time, but apparently not very well focused stitching time, because we can see now I have a big thing to overcome, big issue and a project to overcome. All of that is pretty boring and mundane compared to what's happening in the Ukraine. I've been a big fan of Cross Stitch with Luda, and so I worry about her because I feel like she's somebody I know who lives in Kyiv and has family there. So even if she could have gotten out, right? Isn't that an awful thing to think about having to do? She still had family there. So that's very unnerving. And I have an acquaintance who I've known for years who's from the Ukraine. She's a young woman. She has 2 little kids. Her mother is often here. I don't know what city she's from. Her mother is often here in the United States. Sometimes she can get whatever kind of visa or whatever she needs to be here. And then, of course, it has an expiration date and she has to go back and stuff. I don't know the situation since COVID. I have not seen her. I don't know the situation with her family, but it's just so I know she has other family there, not just her mother. So it has to be just one of the most traumatic things to have to live through in these modern times in a modern country. It's beautiful. If you watch Cross Stitch with Luda and she shows pictures around her city, it's just breathtaking. So that's very, very sad. Maybe that's my excuse for not stitching during the news time, is because I really don't want to watch the news. I don't want, I really, it's just horrible. But yet I turn on the news first thing every morning, and I always make sure I watch the Today Show at the 7 o'clock hour, 7 to 7:30, because that's when they really do the most serious news of the day, so that I can see what's happening. And so as I kvetch away about what's not working in my life, it seems so petty and stupid. So I do have perspective, and I do understand it. So anyway, February just has not been my favorite month. I'm just really hoping a calendar change brings some change. But at the same time, look what it just did with Kringles on March 1st. Oh my gosh. So anyhow, that's very much in my mind right now. And then is market, as we flip back to the frivolous thing, details of life, which I know it's not. This is some people's business, some people's life, and so market is a big thing. So I kind of check here and there when I see a posting about market releases, and just to get an idea what's coming. And sometimes I've pre-purchased a few market things, and I occasionally have a market exclusive. But I hadn't seen a thing, not a thing that I was interested in, and I was, you know, patting myself on the back, and it's all still good, because you know I don't need any new things, you know, we all speak the same language there. But I did watch YouTube, and I watched Kathy Barrick and her daughter Liz Matthews do a joint market release video. I think I watched that yesterday. Well, Liz Matthews, hello from Liz Matthews, has so far the one pattern that I would like. Picture here. Why do we do that? If you don't make YouTube, you wonder why we do that. We do that because when we're editing, seeing a gesture that we make, whatever it is, picture here, that lets us know where to stop the video. So we're not listening every few seconds, stop, start, back up, stop, start, back up, and then trying to pop the picture into a logical spot. So that's why we do this. So anyway, I will put it there. I believe its name is Quaker Flowers. I think so. I just thought it was so cool, so original, so fun. So then today, well, okay, Facebook, which I'm not a huge fan of or anything, but I do follow a few groups, and Needleworkers Delight is one of them, not a group, a store. And they posted that they were going to have today, starting at 12:30, a Facebook Live where they went through and showed all the new market releases. So I really did, prepared myself mentally, 12:30, be ready, had a notepad out, the whole 9 yards. I had a little technical difficulty, they did, and I ended up watching it on YouTube where I had some problems. And I know I wasn't the only one. I was watching the comments, and people started to have the same problem where the picture would be fuzzy, or you'd lose the sound, like I lost the sound, but the picture became very clear again. So I will wait until they're done, and I'll go back and watch. But I was all the way up to number 85 that they were showing, and there wasn't a single thing I wanted to write down. So, lucky me, I guess. But they're doing a thing at Needleworkers Delight where if you order a market release when they get it, I think it's 15% discount and free shipping. So, I don't know. I believe that's what they said. That is what they said. I don't know how long that's good for. Because they were doing the live, they often do a Facebook Live. I don't follow them on YouTube, so I don't know if they do that live, but this was the first time apparently they were trying to do both a Facebook and a YouTube Live. In the Facebook one, they had tons of trouble, so then when my YouTube one would give out, I would go over and try the Facebook one, which wasn't really any better. So I finally gave up on item number 85 and came in and made the video for you guys. But I will go back and watch the YouTube video once it's not live anymore, and check out what's to come. I really want to get another look at the hello from Liz Matthews, which I know I could probably Google a picture, and just to see if it's something I really want to pre-order or just add to my wish list or whatever. No big, not anything earth-shattering. So I think that's it. Look at that. I don't have any idea how long this is, because I really thought this was gonna be like 10 minutes, and then everything started to go haywire. I had things to really show you. I've read a whole bunch of books in February. Went to the library, got like a stack of like 4 books. Couldn't even tell you anything about a single one of them. I did, however, buy on Amazon the audio version of A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles, I think is how you say his last name. Because I tried to read it once and I just could not. 3 pages, I just couldn't. I don't know. I mean, I read a lot of books, so I don't know what the deal is. I could not attach myself. I could not follow it. I couldn't do, I don't know. So then a couple of the things I follow on Facebook are book groups. And somebody on there I read said the audio version, they found that to be enjoyable, a lot easier to follow, or whatever. I don't know. So I purchased that yesterday. I only listened to the sample, so I can't really tell you how it's going to go, but I'm trying to revisit that book. Other than that, I can't even, I'd have to look on my Goodreads accounts. That's how unimpressive all of my February reads were. I don't know what to say. It just is what it is. I just didn't enjoy the month. I'm glad it's over. It was long, long, long. And I'm hoping March is a shinier, brighter month. So, I hope everybody's doing well. Everybody's safe and sound. And all the things. And until next time, I'm off.